Get the Friendo Club set up today and get access to over 700 Going In Raw bonus episodes, our monthly Big Blue predictions challenges, and the ability to ask questions at Going In Raw. We also offer the Steven Larson comic book and exclusive Friendo Club t-shirt. Just hit join here at youtube.com/Steven Larson or go to patreon.com/Steven Larson to sign up. Hey, Friendo, Steve here.
And Larson.
Welcome back to Going In Raw, the only pro wrestling podcast you need to be listening to. It's Wednesday, which means it's our day to address your hot takes. The hotter, the better. Larson, are these going to be as hot as whatever you have in that gray 1984-ish mug you've got there?
This is a peach green tea. Mm-hmm. This is right out of the kettle.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
I dare say these takes are going to be hotter than this tea.
Wow.
You can see the steam coming off there, but it's very hot.
Steam. The steam rises to the top. Anyway.
I'm scared to drink it. It's so hot.
Wow. But you love that. You love your apple pies hot.
Yeah, this ain't apple pie, though, buddy.
Wouldn't that be great if you'd have like just a cup of apple pie?
That'd be great.
Anyways, what'd be even greater is if we got started on these hot takes. So we're going to kick it off with the Immortal Fighter. We actually have two kind of back-to-back, and they're with regards to a potential feud for WrestleMania, or at least one coming up in the near future for WWE. The Immortal Fighter kicks us off with Owens versus Sami is a better story / main event for the WWE title than any other options out there. And Wrestle_Kingdom says Sami versus KO at Mania for the title would be a better story than anything Cody could do for the title at Mania. And I honestly prefer that over anything Cody does at Mania. I'll kick this off by noting something that I have seen on the social media as of late. People really want Kevin Owens to get that title. He's been doing much more interesting work in this feud, perhaps, than Cody. Agree or disagree?
Oh, agreed 1,000%. Kevin Owens right now is a much more interesting and dynamic character than Cody is. All right, before we really get into the meat of this, let's break down the other options, because Immortal Fighter says any other options out there. So, of course, I think probably the most likely option for Cody is probably Cody and John Cena. Have the Mania match for Cena going after number 17.
Yeah.
If Dwayne decides to participate in WrestleMania, although it seems like it's kind of off the table, but it's a possibility, Cody and Rock.
Okay. All right.
Maybe they'll do Cody Roman again.
Yeah.
Maybe Cody Punk.
Could be.
So
those are I think you just listed off the four biggest marquee matches.
Yeah. So of those four plus Kevin Owens and Sami, which is the one that you would most want to see? For whatever reason. The criteria is yours.
Probably Cody Punk. That being said, because I've got this weird thing about, man, like, as much as I would pop for Kevin Owens beating Cody at the Rumble, and I would, boy, this is tough. It's one of those things where I almost kind of prefer, I really like the idea of both guys coming back on both titles, even though they'd never do that. I would love I'll put it this way. I'd love Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens to be the show stealer for WrestleMania for the Winged Eagle title, but not be the final match of day 2. And I don't know why, but I kind of like them because they're not, I mean, I can't bring myself to realistically think in any universe that Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn is going to main event night 2. And I don't know, I kind of like there being that Macho Man versus Steamboat WrestleMania 3 match that kind of blows everybody else away, but then you have Hogan and Andre plotting in the main event. It's kind of not CM, but it's kind of punkish to me. You know what I mean? It's kind of like the Cool Kids Club match, if you will. And I don't think that should be or needs to be in the main event. But I don't know. It's a weird thing to think, I think, probably. Well, on top of that, Sami Zayn kind of bores me as a character.
Yeah, but maybe he's getting interesting now that Karrion Kross is getting involved in his arc. I would really like to see Owens and Sami have a title match main event WrestleMania. I think that'd be great. I think with the Kevin Owens' current character work plus their history, there's just a lot of really good stuff there.
Can I add one more thing really quick?
Sure.
The
wheels are turning here, so go ahead.
Also, it needs more time. I know they've got, because it's funny, you say they've got a lot of history, and you're 1,000% correct. It goes back 20 plus years. I agree with that. Right now,
I got 3 months.
The story needs a full year.
Oh, wow.
To build.
Percolate. You want to percolate like this tea was before I poured it out of the kettle.
Yeah, it needs to percolate for a year before they get to that night 2 main event.
I'll posit this. I'll just toss this out here. It's a topic conversation. Not endorsing per se. KO wins at the Rumble. He pulls down both titles. He's holding it. I don't know. Maybe Sami does end up helping him. Sami doesn't win the Rumble. Wins whatever Elimination Chamber. Match happens. It's for the Undisputed title and Winged Eagle title. If they want to do Cody Cena but not have it be for the title, because when I think we are probably both of the opinion that Cena winning number 17 at WrestleMania is too soon, too easy. He needs some adversity before he gets that title.
You believe that more
probably
than I do?
Probably stronger than you do, but you understand why that might
sure.
be a more effective path than just giving it to him.
Sure.
So you do Cody Cena there. Maybe if Cena beats Cody at WrestleMania, if not for the title, I'm just putting this out there. Cena's like, I can still do this. And that really sets him on the path. He gets the title during the summer, and guess who beats Cena in his final match? Cody gets the title back.
Okay.
That's your arc there for them. And then you get Punk Roman.
That'd be a good one.
And, I'm assuming, kind of like with Cena, I'm assuming with Punk, they're not going to make it easy for him to get the world title and or the Mania main event. You know what I mean?
Well, you mean this year?
Yeah.
Okay. But he'll get it this year, though.
He'll get one of them. Well, he'll probably get both of them, just not at one night. Like, I don't think he's going to win the title in the main event of WrestleMania. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I don't think it's all going to happen at WrestleMania. Like, he might main event against Roman. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. If it's Owens Sami for the Undisputed title, Cena Cody, no title on the line, and then Punk Roman of those 3 matches will probably main event night 2.
Yes, correct. Your supposition is, and that's where we have our Del Taco bet.
Yes,
title adds that title puts it over to the top with Cody.
The top
and
title
Cena.
in the company. It's Cena going after number 17. That's the main event WrestleMania if that's the match.
Yeah, dude. So my thing about Kevin Owens and Sami, and I know this sounds ridiculous because there is so much history. You need to give this iteration of that story. You need more time than 3 months. I think they can get there. Like, Sami just last week came to the realization, I really should be going for world titles because I'm upper echelon without a world title. Everybody upper echelon has world title. That's what separates us. And so that can be a saga. That could be a long-ass story, not from now till WrestleMania. That needs to be much longer, like Festival of Friendship. That was much longer than 3 months. And we all wanted that to main event WrestleMania, and it should have main evented WrestleMania, but it didn't. And Sami, Kevin Owens needs that extra year. That's my feeling on it.
Well, maybe not an extra year, but more time.
Well, here's the thing, though. If
it's going to happen at WrestleMania, it's got to be an extra year. I get that. But
that's my point. Yeah.
Now the question is, in a vacuum, whether you give him another year or 3 months, in terms of telling a fulfilling story,
it'd be a better story
than anything Cody would do.
Anything we've talked about.
Even Cena going for number 17.
Oh God, yeah, that's the least. I feel like Punk Roman, because of Heyman, would challenge it. That
Yeah.
might be the best story. Punk Cody would be fun to see if Punk could turn the crowd on Cody.
Yeah.
The actual meat of the story with this iteration of Kevin Owens would be probably the most interesting. On that, I agree. I think what you said today I'm sorry, we're filming this on Tuesday.
Yeah.
What you said yesterday during the Raw review, where Kevin Owens expects Sami to show up and help him. And he doesn't. So he screws him out of the Rumble. I think that's probably more likely. And then you could tell that 15-month story leading into next Mania as that being the kickoff, basically.
Yeah. Yep.
And I think even in the short term, that would be up there with probably Punk Roman as the story, as like, oh wow, this story is killing it right now. Yeah. Although, you know what? Super underrated potential Mania story, Jacob Solo, if that's the way they go.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be great.
That could be real. Solo could be in line for something really interesting as a character.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, move on to this hot take from Aldo Goodens. Aldo here says, Finn Balor is one of the most important wrestlers in history. Yeah. Thanks to him creating Bullet Club, one of the greatest factions, the Elite met and formed AEW, which motivated WWE to make huge improvements to their product. We don't have the WWE of today without Finn Balor. Yeah.
Yeah.
You could definitely say that
yeah.
Prince Devitt,
Yeah.
Finn Balor, is probably one of the most influential wrestlers of the last 25 years.
Let me ask you this.
What?
Let me ask you this, because I don't disagree with that. I don't know, and I'm sure it's on record, whose idea Bullet Club was. Because it was like all the foreigners getting together and, basically doing an NWO type thing.
Mm-hmm.
If Finn Balor wasn't the guy to be the Bullet Club leader, did New Japan, did they have the idea? Did they come up with the idea for Bullet Club and put Finn in that and put Prince in that situation? Would there have been like an earlier, like even younger Kenny Omega in that spot, or somebody that was also, a non-Japanese wrestler that they could have slotted there? Was Bullet Club, my question is this: could Bullet Club have been Bullet Club without Finn? Was he necessary for it? Or was there another highly talented younger wrestler that could have been slotted in that space and still Bullet Club because of the branding, the song, the concept? Would it have still taken off in the way it took off? Because really, once AJ showed up, and then Kenny, the Kenny iteration is what got them into Hot Topic. And there was a lot before that, but my question is, could Bullet Club still have been Bullet Club without Finn?
Well, according to Finn, he came up with the name.
It's a great name.
It is a great name. And, if whether it was Fergal's idea to start the faction or it was an idea of someone within New Japan, whatever. I think his performance as leader of Bullet Club set the tone for what Bullet Club was going to be.
Sure, absolutely. It could have
regardless if he was in the initial meeting or came up with the initial idea of forming the faction.
He felt dangerous.
Yeah. Yeah.
You couldn't have been Carl Anderson in that role.
No. So regardless of, the particulars about who came up with the idea, I think in terms of setting the tone of what Bullet Club was going to be, Finn set that. And, is there someone else in New Japan that could have done that at the time? Maybe. I don't know. But it was Finn, and he hit a home run with it.
He did.
And his work there, plus his in-ring work, got him a job with WWE.
Mm-hmm.
And he was one of the, in 2014, like him, Kevin Owens, Hideo Itami, a lot of people that were wrestling all over the world, American independents in Japan, were coming to NXT and setting the company up for, in theory, a lot of success in the future with these wrestlers who had already developed really strong brands outside the company.
Yeah.
Now bringing their individual brands and credibility to WWE. And I think really raised the bar of the in-ring product. Add Seth Rollins to that mix. There's a lot of wrestlers who cut their teeth, whether it be in Ring of Honor, internationally, elsewhere on the indies, who came to WWE in the mid 2010s. That across the board really elevated the quality of the in-ring product. We like 2018, 2019 NXT was just awesome match after awesome match after awesome match. And if people like Sammy, Seth, I know I'm going back a little ways further. Heck, you can go back as far as Punk and Daniel Bryan. They don't make they don't sign with WWE. Who knows if others with the history of Ring of Honor follow. Anyways, but in terms of establishing what Bullet Club was, yeah, it seemed like a lot of that was Finn Balor early on.
Yeah,
setting the tone for it.
Yeah, I was just putting the question out there because I agree. And what's ironic too, I don't know if this is a hot take, probably not a hot take because people love Finn these days. But this is the closest we've ever had to that Prince Devitt in WWE, and they're wasting him.
I know.
That's mine.
Yep.
It is absolutely crazy. It is nuts to me. And I didn't put this together until much later when I actually started looking at his work in Bullet Club. It's crazy to me that Triple H, I guess, Regal, whoever, saw Finn, saw what he was doing in New Japan, brought him over, and did none of that besides maybe the demon, he did demon-ish things with the get-ups and stuff.
Yeah, he did.
But that version of Prince Devitt in New Japan when he's chopping people in restaurants and, being real, that guy, nowhere to be found when he came to NXT.
I wonder if that was a creative choice from Triple H, or if it was something where, and maybe he's talked about it, where Finn is like, I've done it all. I've done that. I want to try something different. And, I could see how Triple H would see Finn's work and be like, all right, I could position this guy as a babyface.
Oh, absolutely. If it was Finn's choice, bad choice. Whoever's choice it was,
yeah, we
didn't get that guy until 2 years ago.
Well, it's interesting. There was elements of it when he went back to NXT.
Yeah, there was, but not the one that we see now is kind of the closest.
It's like the element of danger was there when he went back to NXT.
Yeah.
But now it's, I don't know. It's like everything about Bullet Club Finn is there except the element of danger right now.
Right, yeah.
He's not a threat at all.
I know, because he loses all the time.
Yeah, he does. But when he went back to NXT, he had that air of danger about him, but there was something else that just wasn't quite there as it relates to the Prince Devitt stuff, but it was close.
Because it seemed like he was just doing a bad guy version of Smiling Finn, if that makes sense. Because he was dangerous, but at the same time, he wasn't crazy. You know what I mean? There was that element of unpredictability that was not there in NXT.
Yeah.
And now we sort of have that, but he just loses all the time.
Yeah.
And he's hanging out with a loser group. Anyways, before we continue on with our next hot take, Larson, we have some sponsors for the show today, so why don't we talk about them?
Let's do it. Let's take a quick break here. Get a word from our sponsor, DraftKings Pick 6. Steve, we're in the midst of the NFL playoffs. And now that the divisional round is in the books, time is running out to play DraftKings Pick 6. As the official daily fantasy sports partner of the NFL, DraftKings does fantasy sports like no one else.
And getting started with Pick 6 is easy. All you got to do is select 2 or more players and choose if they'll have more or less of a particular stat, like touchdowns, yardage, sacks, and more. And check this out. DraftKings is now making it even sweeter for first-time players. New Pick 6 customers play $5, get $50 in Pick 6 credits.
So win more cash on Pick 6. Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app and use code RAW. That's code RAW for new customers to play $5, get $50 in Pick 6 credits only on DraftKings Pick 6. The crown is yours.
And here's Bill DraftKings with some disclosures.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org in Connecticut. Must be 18 and over. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Pick 6 not available everywhere, including New York and Ontario. Void where prohibited. 1 per new customer. Bonus awarded as non-withdrawable Pick 6 credits that expire in 30 days. Limited time offer. See terms at pick6.draftkings.com/promos.
All right. Thank you, Bill Pick 6. Let's go ahead and dive into our other sponsor for today's show, Larson.
Yeah. And let's get a word from our sponsor, Hims. Hey guys, look, I know it's tough to deal with hair loss. It's getting pretty thin up here for me as well, but I'm here to tell you that just because you may have lost your hair, that doesn't mean you can't find it again. Hims makes treating hair loss simple with doctor-trusted options and clinically proven ingredients that can regrow hair in as little as 3 to 6 months.
And it's easy to get started. Everything is 100% online, which means no awkward or uncomfortable doctor visits. All you got to do is answer a few questions, and a medical provider will determine if treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your treatment is sent directly to your door for free. You can even choose from personalized chewable, oral, spray, and serum treatments to find out what works best for you.
So start your free online visit today at hims.com/goinginraw. That's HIMS.com/goinginraw for your personalized hair loss treatment options. hims.com/goinginraw.
Results vary based on studies of topical and oral minoxidil and finasteride. Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information.
You ready for more hot takes, Steve?
I'm ready for the next hot take.
Well, apparently I have one from the future here from Atticus. Atticus says, future hot take.
Awesome.
Triple H may have blown it with wrestling fans with his handling of Gunther, having him lose the world title to Seth right before Mania, then putting him in a match with Goldberg was a huge waste of his talent. Yeah, he won, but the match was awful, and everyone is booing Goldberg. And now with a seemingly never-ending tease feud with Ludwig, it feels like the honeymoon phase is over for Triple H.
This legitimately feels like the future. That is
It seems
actually
like a distinct possibility, doesn't it?
that is such a, what is the word, prescient?
Yeah, prescient hot take.
that is one hell of a view. That was a long one too. Triple H may have blown it with wrestling fans with his handling of Gunther, having him lose the world title to Seth right before. Okay, that one.
I don't know, because if Punk comes out of, say, Elimination Chamber with the number one contendership for the World Heavyweight Championship, they want to do Seth Punk for that title at Mania? And then do Goldberg
Larson,
and Gunther at WrestleMania?
It's barely been a month since the last time you said, with all the confidence, sometimes I see a hint of arrogance. I know how Triple H books Gunther. No, I'm sorry. I know how Triple H likes Gunther.
It's been a while since I've said that. I think it was last year is the last time I said it.
I think you said it in front of Crown Jewel. And maybe that's when you were like, oh, man, maybe not. Oh, man. I think that if Gunther's going to lose the title, it's going to be at WrestleMania, man. If he's going to lose the title.
But if they do, what I'm saying is if they decide, all right, we're not going to do, let's say Dwayne shows up and it's like, I want to be at WrestleMania this year. And well, they'll be Rock Roman. Punk needs a high profile match.
I think
Seth beats Gunther for that title because they want to have Seth versus Punk for the title.
They would sooner do a triple threat, right?
I don't know.
Triple threat would be a good match, by the way.
Make it a 4-way and have Goldberg in there too.
Gunther, Seth, and Punk would be a man. Dude, that's the part of this take that is terrifying. Here's actually how you can amend this take and have it terrifyingly real. Is Triple H may have blown it with wrestling fans with his handling of Gunther. Having him face Logan Paul at WrestleMania, then putting him in a match with Goldberg was a huge waste of talent. I don't think for a second he'd have Logan Paul win, but the rumors that Logan Paul and Gunther are going to go at WrestleMania, that's a possibility.
It is a distinct possibility.
I don't want to. I do not want moldy cheese at the WrestleMania for Gunther. But right before Mania, man, I don't see it. Oof. Maybe though. Maybe that's a good one though.
I don't think you can spell it entirely.
Atticus gets an A+ for the what do you call it? There are people that aren't they just
prognostication.
Futurists. Isn't there like a whole like school of like I don't know, philosophy, whatever? Like Cory Doctorow, isn't he like a futurist?
Who?
There's an author named Cory Doctorow, I think his name is.
Oh, I'm not familiar with that name.
Okay. I don't know. He's one of them dudes. It's like, who used to do that too? I forget his name. I have one of his books somewhere.
I don't know. Anyways, next hot take. This is also about Gunther. Gabriel Ribeiro here says, we're all expecting Gunther to drop his title soon, even if a face turn follows. I doubt it'll wipe clean the last several months of booking. He's peaked. Triple H's handling of Gunther's creative was way better during his Intercontinental title reign than it has been during his World Heavyweight Championship reign. I don't know. I think that's a pretty solid, sound, objective statement.
William Gibson, that's who I'm thinking of.
Oh, yeah, William Gibson. Yeah, I know that name.
Yeah. That dude had some really, really prescient thoughts about the future. Anyways,
also
you're right. Yeah.
Arthur Clarke in some of his works. Yeah.
No, Gunther, sorry, I interrupted you. Gunther's creative has been terrible.
Yeah, it's not been good. It has not elevated him whatsoever. The World Heavyweight Championship still feels like the consolation title.
Even more so than ever.
Yeah.
They have both kind of like sunk each other to a degree. It hasn't been good, man.
No, it hasn't. And it's a bummer. It's a real bummer. I'm about peaked. Because you put Gunther in a couple good stories, and I feel like you put him in a couple good stories, you let him have some matches that just really are awesome. Because it's been this weird thing where the creative's been tepid, and his matches are still good. But I don't feel like they're up to the same level of him, Sheamus, the triple threat at Mania with him, Sheamus, and Drew. Like, they're not that level of good anymore.
They got away from the core of Gunther. And they're trying to, like, they're doing it on a superficial level with this, you are a sports entertainer. You're an entertainer. I am a pro. Dude, I'm sorry, but, like, it used to be, let's put Gunther in there with an Ilya. Let's put Gunther in there with a Drew, who is an underrated in-ring wrestler.
Yep.
Sheamus, an underrated in-ring wrestler. That guy can go. You went away from that. And the Randy Orton match was fine. It was long. His matches now are fine. But, like, they really set a high standard.
They did. Like, his match against Cody was fine.
Yeah, right. Yeah, the finish was like, what?
That was dog shit. It's dog shit finish.
And so, like, that's the thing. They got away from, hey, let's get him in there with, like, the best wrestlers. Now they got Jay, who is tremendously popular, but he's not match guy. Unless it's a tag match. So, yeah, I don't know, man. I think that's kind of part of it. Like, it was very simple with Gunther. This guy could clean house with any wrestler when it came to being inside the ring. And he didn't have to dog them, like, verbally.
No.
You are entertainer.
Yeah.
You know, like that.
Yeah.
Okay, Gunther. Enough with these promos. Just get in there and wrestle really good.
I know. Another hot take here from Ronan the Analyst says the women of NXT have been modern WWE's greatest what?
Hey, sorry, let me back up here. Punk versus Gunther. Let's say they did that feud.
Okay.
What would that story look like? What would the promos be like?
I mean, I would assume it'd be, gosh, I don't know.
I feel like it might be the kind of thing where Punk would be like, you know, I really want to prove that I am the best in the world, and so I'm going up against you. Maybe he'd actually pay some respect to Gunther.
That could
like,
be.
what could Gunther come at him with? You say you're the best in the world.
But I have the title to prove it.
And it'd be that for like 3 weeks.
I know. Be that coming at it from various angles.
Yeah.
Ronan the Analyst here says the women of NXT have been modern WWE's greatest success story, and they continue to rise above their male counterparts.
Yeah, it's gonna be a very interesting 2030 when this NXT resurgence in women's wrestling that they have sort of, you know, been initiating comes to fruition on main roster. I think at least from the perspective of Shawn Michaels, maybe he's thinking, you know what? We need to start looking ahead to when it's totally possible and viable and probable that women are going to reclaim at the very least the night one Mania spot, but ideally with the right stories and attention to it, the Night 2 Mania spot. Because I think that it all boils down to talent and attention to the creative. If they actually put time and effort in the creative, the talent is there. And the talent in NXT in the women's division is so strong that it's going to be like, there's a lot of women there, a lot of very talented women there. And they are going to take up, they're going to need to give them the breathing room that they really are going to deserve. So it's going to be interesting.
It'd be interesting to go back and kind of do a full analysis of this, but it kind of feels like in a lot of respects, NXT has done a much better job of developing main event talent in the women's division as opposed to the men's division.
Yeah. He's given the creative energy to the women.
And it's probably been no sort more true than now, and it's been the case in NXT in the men's main event scene for a while. It's just not a lot of depth.
Let me ask you something.
Whereas that's definitely not the case in the women's division. There's tons of depth in the main event scene.
Is it possible that Triple H and HBK sit down and are trying to think super long term in terms of NXT? Don't worry about developing the men's division because we're so loaded on main roster. Athletes take better and better care of themselves. These guys are going to be around for a long time. You need to develop the women's division because the depth isn't as great on main roster as it is on with the men. So focus on that in NXT. Do you think this is a super long-term strategy?
I don't know. Honestly,
or is HBK just like, hey, I just would prefer to book women because, I don't know, they're easier to write. I don't know. You know what I mean?
I don't know. I honestly don't know if this is a strategic plan to do something along the lines you say, or if this is a situation where... Yeah, I honestly don't know. I don't know.
Because, like, look at what they have, like, on main roster in terms of, like, the women's division. It's not as loaded with younger women as... I'm trying to get my footing here. Like, the tag champion, Bianca's like, what, 37, I think?
Is she that old?
I think so. Let me double check.
Here,
Bianca's been around for a while, though. It's funny because we always think of her as...
She's 35.
Oh, she's 35. Okay, sorry. And that's a big 2-year difference there. I don't say that jokingly either.
She'll be 36 a couple weeks before Mania.
Okay. But 35 is not 25. You know what I mean? And I'm not, dude, the men are old too.
Yeah.
But you also have a lot more youth in the male, I think in the men's division on main roster as well. Got like Braun Breaker ready to come up.
Carmelo.
LA Knight, who's going to be around for another 20 years.
Yeah. Just getting started in this business. Yeah.
Deep into his 80s. So I don't know. I think it would not shock me if this was like, hey, you know what? There's a lot of great talent out there. Let's get everybody. Let's do this challenge. Let's see if we can get everybody to the Rhea Bianca level within 5 years. Mm-hmm. Tiffany's on her way there. Roxanne is going to be there because she's so good. Mm-hmm. And then you bring in Julia, Stephanie, and Zarya. And then you're also developing Kalani and Saul. And you know what I mean? Like, they're going to, it's going to be so like across the board, there ain't going to be a star-studded match at WrestleMania on either night. You know what I mean? Everything's going to be like main event level.
Yeah. I know what you mean. Yeah. Let's pivot here. Diehard Homer here says, with Britt now seemingly the next person causing trouble in AEW, is the company the issue or all the people the problem? What have we said so often about AEW? Probably the core issue there is a leadership vacuum when it comes to Tony Khan. And whether it's issues communicating vision or, you know, a lot of people have said he's very nice. Like he's a nice boss to have. and is his desire or the need he feels to be nice. I'm not advocating for being a jerk boss, because I think that comes as a whole other list of trouble that you don't want to deal with. But if the issue is he's worried about upsetting people, and so he's not willing to put his foot down from time to time in a way that's not mean or unfair, then people might take advantage of that. That's the issue. Is sometimes when you're in a leadership position, sometimes you have to give people a firm no and leave it at that, and not concern yourself primarily with hurting people's feelings.
I'll go a little bit bigger picture.
Yeah.
Generally speaking, I think it's probably just a bad idea for the guy cutting the checks to be so involved with the product / talent. You see this, when you have to be, number one, when you're a nice guy, when you don't have the gravity, I'll say, not the gravitas, but I guess the gravitas of a Vince McMahon, because Vince McMahon was cutting the checks and this dude was super involved, but he's like a singular guy. And like Vince was a master manipulator, horrifically so.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're not that guy, if you are a guy who just has a shit ton of money and you love wrestling, and you can still be a little on the starstruck side, which I guarantee is, I would be too. Oh, I brought CM Punk back to wrestling. Oh my God. I'd be like, what is this wonderland?
Mm-hmm.
And people would probably take advantage of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'd probably let them. I just think that maybe, just maybe, AEW would be in a better position if Tony Khan rarely showed his face or talked to the media or did any of that stuff.
You know what? If maybe something like this, and I'll use since his dad owns the Jacksonville Jaguars, I'll use an NFL metaphor. More often than not, this isn't always the case. Owners of NFL teams are involved at a high level.
Sure.
They're usually not involved in day-to-day decision making. They may sign off on some of the decisions, sure, pending decisions made by the general manager and his team. But generally speaking, there's exceptions to this. The general manager of any sports organization on a day-to-day basis is running things.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And maybe what Tony Khan, I'm talking about a kayfabe on-screen general manager. He needs someone to do the day-to-day stuff, handling the creative, managing egos. Someone who, again, is not a jerk, but knows when to give someone a firm yes or no or something. Because how often have we heard of times backstage in AEW where talent been pitching ideas and they just say, no, I'm not going to do it.
If Cody had stuck, or if they had done everything different, where if Tony Khan was, sitting up in his office and maybe having the weekly creative meetings, hey, where are we at? What's going on? Yeah. This is what I'd like to see. Again, I feel like level. these metrics work for this champion.
Yeah.
And he had a Cody or somebody along those lines, a guy who everybody respects, a guy who understands management. Maybe that wouldn't be Cody because he said he was a terrible manager, but somebody who everybody respects, basically a Triple H.
Scott D'Amore, maybe.
Maybe. A guy who's going to assure people that, hey, you know what? We're going to do our damnedest to make you feel used here and creative. I think things would be a lot better with AEW. I think across the board, I do.
Yeah.
But he really wanted to be involved. Like he wanted to be booking everything. He wanted to be the guy. He wanted to be there with the boys.
And I will say the early couple months of AEW's existence where the creative is so wildly uneven, and he was like, all right, I'm gonna start overseeing this. To Tony's credit, there was an immediate improvement.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Since then, it's been a lot of ups and downs.
Because I still feel like in pro wrestling creative, you'll always have a honeymoon. Because you'll have, oh man, I got some cool ideas. And what do you always say about bands?
Yeah, 20 years of ideas are sitting around. Yeah, they have bands, they spend their first 5 years playing in bars and clubs and they write all these songs. and they're hungry and they're ready to get in the studio and record them, and the first album or first two albums are really good, is when you have to go and start writing new stuff. That's the issue.
Everybody has at least one hit in their, in them, one hit song in them, right?
Yeah.
And like what you just said there, Pearl Jam had 10, and it's like, that's the one that I always go back to. They've had plenty of good songs since then, but like, yeah, they spent their first, it was really quickly that 10 came together because Eddie was there like
when their formation and 10 came out, it was a matter of a couple of years. Yeah.
But 10 and Versus are both really good albums. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I feel like that honeymoon period, everybody has a honeymoon period when it comes to that. And then you got to keep this going 52 weeks a year.
Yeah, that's the hard part. Mm-hmm. And if your management style, you can be a cool dude, you can be understanding and try to relate to your talent and be a nice guy. I'm not advocating for Tony Khan to be an asshole. Mm-hmm. There's just times where you got to say, all right, no, that's not happening. Or yes, we have to do this.
Yeah.
And be firm about it.
Yeah.
I think that's all it takes is people need to. It's the outsiders locking Eric Bischoff in the closet type situation where once you show a measure of any sort of weakness in that regard, they're going to take advantage of it.
And look what happens. He starts palling around with talent. He starts adding himself to the storylines, and WCW goes down the shitter. He couldn't handle it anymore.
Yep.
Next up, CDTN player says Jacob Fatu feels like the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal winner. The "we want to do something with you, just not right now" guy.
Oh,
Couldn't
I don't know.
Disagree with this more.
At Mania, Jacob Fatu's either wrestling solo or he's going to win the U.S. title.
He's either going to be in a killer story with Solo or he's going to be taking that U.S. title off of or Shinsuke, Shinsuke still has it. But I think LA Knight might get it from Shinsuke before that.
I think it's a pretty high probability that happened, yes.
Yeah.
No, I mean, they want to do something with Jacob, but I don't feel like they're going to wait on it. Mm-hmm. So either going to be him trying to take over Bad Bloodline, or maybe already haven't done that, getting that U.S. title from LA Knight.
Yeah, for sure.
Next, from Bloodborne Survivor, hot take. Carmelo Hayes should be Cena's final match in their shared hometown of Boston. Hayes is a talent whose ceiling is high enough to be a face of the company. Cena also seems like the type of guy who would want to go out putting over a younger guy.
Oh, I agree with this 1,000%. I think Carmelo needs a killer 2025. If that parallels John Cena's killer 2025, where he wins the title, breaks the record, and he's seen as a legitimate threat, have Carmelo beat him. Absolutely.
That'd be great.
I agree with that 1,000%.
The Wallinator, hot take. Given the squandered potential of Sanity, Nikki ASH, and now seemingly the Wyatt Six, Nikki Cross has repeatedly been one of WWE's biggest missed opportunities for the last decade.
Oh, I agree 1,000%. People love her. In any iteration of what she does, they love her.
Yeah, and that's why the Nikki ASH thing took off so quickly.
Boy, oh boy, I'll never forget how disappointed we were at just how so obviously they missed that storyline. They just missed on that storyline, and it could have been awesome, but boy, Vince didn't know what he was doing back then.
Yeah, that was a massive missed opportunity. Massive. Luis here says this transfer window sucks. It was way better as a draft week. I'll even take when they fought over draft picks. I think the idea of wrestlers competing for draft picks and stuff like that, it actually works in the idea of the draft into the televised product more than just kind of trying to operate it both as a wrestling program and like a live draft broadcast. Because the outcome of the matches have bearing on the draft and vice versa.
I think there's so much interesting stuff you could do with the draft and a hard brand split. And for some reason, they've never really nailed it. No. I think back in the day when you had I don't know. I think there were some drafts that were really good that were oh, wow, look at that. Mm-hmm. But yeah, the concept of, mainly I think the NFL draft, NBA draft, there's so much interesting shit that goes on. the wheeling and dealing and all that kind of stuff.
The personal stories of the players waiting to be drafted. Yeah.
And why WWE doesn't take advantage of that? It's like everybody's just sitting there in NXT, and then Dijak gets called, and everybody like legitimately cheers for him because it's like people like that guy. But like they could be using the draft to tell like a big ass story, and then stories from it. Maybe that's just too tall of a task to get to that level of storytelling, but
I don't see why. But the transfer window is this nebulous idea. I don't know how it works. It's never been really fleshed out on TV. I don't think they know.
Yeah, you're right. It's kind of a Vince-ish type thing, you know?
Yeah.
Just with like a slightly better name because it's like, oh, it's Triple H. He knows what he's doing.
Oh, the transfer window is a soccer thing.
Yeah, right. Yeah. But, you know, yeah, it sounds legit, you know?
Yeah. Shotgun Sean with our last hot take. This is a hot one.
Take.
Says, a contracted TNA talent should win the Royal Rumble. Are you ready for Frankie Kazarian to have a WWE title shot and WrestleMania opportunity walking out of the Royal Rumble, Steve? Maybe they think the Elite Hunter himself will be the one to take WWE into a new era that'll put AEW out of business.
They're like, this was one of the first AEW champions.
Yeah.
Tag champion.
True.
He's our next Cody. You know, they're like, this guy's young, right? They're like, well, he's like 62. It's like, holy shit, he looks amazing.
He's been wrestling since 1985.
Right, yeah. Yeah, he was at the first WrestleMania, remember?
He was there in attendance as a fan. No, he wrestled in one of the preliminary matches.
Yeah, right. He took on SD Jones. Oh, no, man. I'm trying to think who I would like to see. Honestly, like the name that I keep coming back to is Moose with that new X Division title. It's a fancy looking title.
Now, the one name that I think would be great, although she is reportedly done with TNA, would be Jordynne Grace. If Jordynne Grace entered the Women's Rumble and won it,
that actually wouldn't shock me. I'd be surprised, not shocked.
She at that point she would be a WWE contracted talent.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah, that wouldn't really work. Yeah. If, you know what? I would be shocked and surprised if Masha won it, but like, maybe not. You know, that'd be really interesting because if they were like, oh man, this transfer or this partnership thing, we could really do some cool shit with it. I don't know if I feel like WWE would need to have like a financial stake in TNA for them to do that.
Yeah,
but. Yeah, that would be my, if it's a TNA contracted wrestler, it'd be Masha. It'd be Masha.
Yeah, Masha's great.
Yeah. Anyway, like Masha versus Rhea.
That'd be fantastic.
I don't think it'd happen, but that'd be awesome. That'd be really cool.
Great.
I think Masha's going to be in the thing too. Her and Joe Hendry are both going to be in there.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Anyways, that's going to do it for this edition of Hot Takes. Thanks, everybody, for sending in yours. We appreciate it. Be sure to hit that subscribe button and the notify bell so that you can catch the wave on the next Hot Takes community thread thing. Till next time, we'll see you guys around.
Goodbye.
God, family, cope.